Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have some home goods, Dollar Tree DIY dupes for you. So if that's something you're interested in, then just keep watching. Okay guys, so I thought that it would be really fun if I came to Home Goods and tried to find home decor that's actually pretty expensive and use Dollar Tree items to recreate it. So check this out right here. It's really big. It has a battery pack, but it's 40 bucks. It's got little candles in it. And then look at this one over here. This is really pretty too. This one's also 40 bucks. And it's that galvanized metal with the jars and the candles. Cute little handles. Okay guys, so to start off, I had these jars in my stash, so I just pulled them out to kind of get a gauge of how big I wanted this box. Now the original one I believe had 5, but I didn't want mine to be that big, so I did just go with the 4, and I laid out my stir sticks and then cut them down to size. Per usual, I will leave all the measurements in the description box below, but I do just cut the handles off of 4 stir sticks, and then I cut 4 pieces down to, I believe, 5 1/4. I then also cut some large popsicle sticks up. I need 4 each for the longer ones and 2 each for the shorter ones, and then I just secure them with some wood glue and some hot glue. I then take some square dowels and I measure how big I need for the corners so that our box can stay together really nicely. I mark them and then I also cut those down to size. I lay my jars out just to make sure that it is big enough before I put this all together and stain it. But before I stain it, I do go ahead and glue the square dowels to the corners of the longer stir sticks. I did just secure those with some hot glue. No need to use hot glue. This hot glue, or wood glue, I meant to say. No need to use wood glue. Here we go again already. Anyway, I used my Surebonder glue gun. They were nice enough to send me some supplies, you guys. I've been wanting a cordless glue gun for a long time, so they sent me 3, and you guys, I love these so much. They're so convenient, and I am so grateful to them that they sent them to me, plus their glue sticks. But anyway, I also laid out the box frame to see how big I would need the bottom pieces. Little disclaimer, I ended up cutting them too short, but we fixed that in a minute. So once I had all my pieces cut, then I do go in with my Dixie Belle cotton chalk paint, and I give those all a distressed coat of that paint. Next, I take my jars, and in the original piece, it did not have anything on the jars. They were just plain clear, but I did want to give mine a little bit of like distressing or frosting, whatever you want to call it. I think that it just gives it more character, and that's the beauty of making dupes. You can change it up to your liking. So I just took my mini chip brush and that same white chalk paint, and I just lightly distressed the jars. Once my pieces were dry, then I took some wood glue and some hot glue, and I glued the pieces down. So I started by laying the longer pieces down, and then I glued the shorter pieces to those dowels on the side, and then I quickly glued the last piece down. And you want to work quickly, like I said, with some wood glue and hot glue, because you have to place this in between those side pieces, and if you don't work quick, your glue will dry and you'll have to redo it. So like I said before, I cut my bottom pieces too short, but I didn't want to waste them, so all I did was cut some large popsicle sticks down, and then I just glued those to the sides. I also glued those to the middle just to give it some stability because the jars are pretty heavy. They're the nice ball jars. I have a ton of them, you guys. I can some things, so I always have them left over. But I did only need 3 for the bottom, and then I glued them evenly, and I just secured that with some hot glue. Next, I take my antique wax by Waverly and my mini chip brush. Surprise, surprise, and I just dry brush all the way around this box. Of course, this is personal preference. If you do not like the dry brushing, then you can skip that step, but I personally love dry brushing. It just makes it look more weathered and farmhousey, and that is the look I'm going for. Next, I take this faux leather ribbon from Dollar Tree. They have a multitude of different colors. I chose black, and there were 3 boxes at Home Goods, and I kind of mixed and matched all of them to make one. So anyway, I just kind of measured the corner, how long I wanted this. It's just basically decoration, and then I cut 4 pieces down. I then just secured that with some hot glue, and you'll see here in a minute, my OCD is like, girlfriend, that is not straight. You need to straighten that up. I wanted to be like, oh, forget it, I'm going to leave it. But, you know, the angel and the devil on your shoulder. The angel is like, yeah, change it. And then the devil's like, no, it's ugly. That is my brain and the way it works. And it drives me crazy sometimes. However, I do appreciate it because it's those little attention to detail that really make your project pop. So I'm not complaining. But anyway, I took these pop dot stickers and I first painted them white so that way you couldn't see through. And then I gave it 2 coats of gold acrylic Arteza paint. Once they were dry, then I put them in all of the corners. So altogether you need 16 of those. Once I had those all put down, then I put my jars in the box, and unfortunately, I only had 2 strands of fairy lights from Dollar Tree. I could have swore I had more, but I couldn't find them. So all I did was just split them up between the 4. So I would stick half of the strand in the first and then the second half in the next jar, and then I repeated that, and I just kind of like pushed it over the side, and then I hid it with greenery that it was going from one jar to the next. Now, in the original box, it had these different handles, but I have been wanting to use these Farmhouse cup handles for some time now, so I did just put those on each side of the box with some hot glue, and then I dry brushed it with some white Waverly chalk paint. And then that was it for this project, you guys. I love the way it turned out. Let me know in the comments down below if you would spend the $39.99 or if you would just make your own. It literally only cost me $4. I only had to pick up the stir sticks. I had everything else, and I could not be more pleased with the way it turned out. Okay, you guys, so I have been wanting a cordless glue gun for so long, so when SureBonder reached out and wanted to send me some products and sponsor my video, I was so excited to do so. So I want to thank SureBonder for sponsoring today's video, and if you want to get any of the glue guns that I used in this video, then check the link in the description box below. If you guys are new here, my name's Melissa. I love to do all things crafty on a budget, especially Dollar Tree DIYs. Farmhouse decor is my specialty, and much more. So if that's something you're interested in, I would love if you would stick around. Become part of the family by clicking that red subscribe button, and then you just want to tap the bell and all. That way you're notified every single time I upload. That way you don't miss another Dollar Tree moment. So for today's earrings of the week, a sweet subscriber had sent me these. Look how cute they are, you guys. I love gold, and I love the, I guess it's kind of like chain links. I don't know what you want to call it, but the second that I saw these, I was like, wow, she's really paying attention to my style, and she also sent my daughter some things. So Jody, I just want to thank you so much. I appreciate that. And with all that being said, let's jump back into today's DIYs. Also, don't forget, if you guys are not following me on Instagram, I do a lot of personal things like stories and the kids and all kinds of things over there behind the scenes. So if you want to get a little more personal, or if you want to shoot me a message, go on over to Instagram. The link is in the description box, and you can message me or just watch me over there. I also post when my videos go live, so I did want to mention that. So anyway, with all that being said, let's jump back into today's DIYs. Moving on to our next project, you guys, this was super duper easy to make. The hardest part was measuring out to be able to cut the pieces. So you guys seen my inspiration. I wanted mine a little bit bigger so that it could be like in the middle of something else. So basically all I did was take a piece of foam board from Dollar Tree. I cut one corner first, and then I just held it up to the next corner. That way they could be perfectly even. And then around the edges of this, I drew a 1-inch line. Once I had the 1-inch line drawn, or really I should say a 1-inch perimeter, then I made one line down the middle. Once I had the middle line drawn, then I drew another line on each side of the middle line that would equal 1 inch as well. Next, I drew 2 more lines under that, making sure that they were even, and again, repeating those steps, making 3 lines all together, so that way all your lines are even to 1 inch. Once I had those marked down, then all I did was do the same exact thing on either side. That way all my pieces were nice and even. Like I said, I hope this makes sense, you guys. My OCD, like I literally sat here and did this for like 2 to 3 hours, you guys, because I hate like lines that aren't even. So I kept having to erase and redo it. Sometimes like I love my brain for that, but sometimes it gets to be a bit much. But I feel like if you're doing high-end decor, then it needs to be nice and even so that it looks like high-end decor. But hey, that's just me. So I did, for these side pieces, mark at the bottom and the top of the squares, and then I took my yardstick and just connected them. Now, originally I was going to kind of veer off from the original inspiration and do the top window pieces with a curve and then a line through them on either side, but I could not get them straight and it was driving me crazy. So all I did was just erase those and draw a line from each corner at the top. You can see what I did here, and then once again made all 3 lines to equal 1 inch. So here is the fun part. Little backstory, you guys. I've had this hot knife since back around Christmas time, and it literally flew off the desk into my foot. It was burning my foot. It happened so fast, and it like traumatized me. This has been in the drawer forever, and I have been so afraid to use it. But I started to try to cut this with a knife, and I was like, no, we're not doing this. So I pulled this hot knife out, and I'm so glad that I got over my fears, because you guys, if you don't have one of these in your stash, just be really careful. It happened so fast. I don't even know what happened. I went to go grab a extension cord, and the next thing I know, it was in my foot. So just be really careful. Now that I have a nice tall desk, even if it did fall off, it wouldn't like go very far, if that makes sense, because the cord is pretty short. But like I said, just be careful. This thing cuts like butter. It literally took me probably 7 minutes to cut all those pieces out, and it cuts it so nicely that all the edges are nice and smooth. So you know how when you cut foam board and the edges get kind of like frayed if your knife isn't sharp enough? Well, these edges are perfect. So once I had all of those cut out, then I took a placemat from Dollar Tree. I laid it on my self-healing mat so that I could cut even strips, and I cut 12, I think it's 1-inch strips. Yeah, 1-inch strips. And you guys, honestly, I wish I would have doubled these up, because once I was finished, you could tell that they were there, but I wish that they were just a little bit thicker. So I do recommend cutting 36 pieces and tripling your pieces up if you do end up making this project. So here I just put a few together because I wanted to make sure that they would fit into my squares, and then I painted all of them white. And don't do that, you guys, skip that step, because in the end I ended up painting them black anyway, because originally I was going to have them match what the technique I'm about to show you, but once it was all put together, I couldn't really see. So maybe if you double or triple these up and your pieces are thicker, then you might make out better to have them match. But I like the black personally. Here we go again. Y'all know Melissa cannot talk. But I had to switch you guys to a different angle because my camera battery died, and then the other battery was dead as well. So anyway, it is what it is. We're just going to roll with it. So before I do this step, I take all kinds of different poker tools and I use my fingernail, and I just kind of put blemishes in this. Now, I originally saw this technique on Facebook. I can't remember the Facebook name. I think it's something cactus. And then once I searched for it on YouTube, Shelly Nemeth came up with Gilbert Designs. So go check out her video. I'll try to link it below. But basically all you do is take a Dollar Tree sponge after you've put your blemishes in the foam board, and you take some antique wax and you just wipe it all over your foam board. Next, you're going to take some ink Waverly chalk paint and the clear wax from Waverly, and you're just going to focus on your knots and your edges, kind of blending it in and putting it darker in places and then lighter in others. You want to push your sponge down into your knots so that way the darker color goes in the knots like natural wood. And you guys, I had so much fun with this. It's kind of addicting, so I will definitely be doing this technique again. I can't believe the way it turned out, and it really looks like real wood. I showed my friends and they could not believe that it was actually foam board, so I'm really pleased with the way this turned out. So here I'm showing you how to make the middle pieces. So I just took a bamboo skewer and kind of measured the middle pieces from one corner to corner going in a diagonal, and then I held it up to my strips. I folded it in half and then took the edge piece and I hot glued that. But if you're going to triple these up, then you would just again put all three pieces together. So you would do your first piece and then connect your second and your third piece onto it. I hope that makes sense. If not, let me know in the comments down below and I'll try to explain it a little bit better. So once I had all my pieces glued together, then I flipped this around, I stuck my pieces in, and I just secured it from the back with some hot glue. Next, I just take some white Waverly chalk paint, and I didn't want to go overboard on this because, like I said, I love the way that this looked just like wood, and I didn't want to take away from that, so I just lightly dry brushed some white Waverly chalk paint. All I did next was secure a wreath to the top. I made this wreath in a video a while ago. I can link that video in the cards in the right hand corner. But you guys, look at the way this turned out. I love it so much. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put it. But as usual, let me know in the comments down below. Does this look like real wood, or can you tell that it's foam board? So I want to take a moment to give a huge shout out to Valerie, Laura B, Someone, Joe, and Linda for buying me a coffee. If you guys enjoy my work and would like to buy me a coffee as well and get a shout out, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/allthingscrafty or follow the link in the description. You guys don't have to do that, but if you would like to, I greatly appreciate it, and I appreciate every single one of you no matter what. You can always support your favorite YouTubers by just watching the ads or even just hitting the like button or commenting. There's many ways to support your favorite creators. You don't have to always support them monetarily, but for the ones that do, I really do appreciate it. And like I said, for the ones that don't, I just appreciate you being here. And like I said, hitting the like button, commenting, watching the ads, whichever way you want to do it, I appreciate every single one of you. For the next project, you guys, I could not believe this thing was $25, and it was kind of plain, which I do like plain, but I wanted to dress mine up a little bit more. So basically we're going to do the exact same thing that we did for the first box. This one is going to be a little bit smaller. So for this one, I did 4 6-inch pieces and 4 11-inch pieces. Once again, I cut down the popsicle sticks, and for this one I did 3 each on the larger pieces and 2 each on the smaller pieces. And once again, I did secure those with some wood glue and some hot glue. Once I had all of these put together, I did cut down 4 more square dowels for the corners, and then I stained all of the pieces with my Kona. Actually, this is ebony stain and polyurethane. I get these right at Walmart, but I'm sure you can pick them up at any hardware store. Now, because we just did this in the other box project, I'm not going to show you the entire thing, but basically I just reversed it. So instead of gluing the side pieces instead of gluing the square dowels to the longer pieces, this time I glued the square dowels to the shorter pieces and then glued them to the longer piece, because it's just much easier to put together. And then that way all you have to do is just glue the top piece right on, and you don't really have to worry about like shimmying it in between those 2 side pieces, if that makes any sense at all. So for this bottom part, I just figured that I would grab a piece of scrap foam board. You guys, I can't think today. Per usual, 3 kids will wear you down, make you lose your mind. But anyway, I just cut down a scrap piece of foam board, and then I glued that to the bottom with some hot glue. Now, I didn't want you to be able to tell that this was foam board, so all I did was give it a good coat of some ink Waverly chalk paint, making sure that I also paint the edges. Next, oh my god, you guys, what a shocker. I take my white Waverly chalk paint, and I wanted to try like a bigger chip brush, and I do like it because it gives it a much lighter dry brushing. So I just take my white Waverly chalk paint and the bigger chip brush and give that a light coat of distressing. So next, you guys, I have seen these. Basically, they're just like COUTURE, but they're called a Maker's Studio, and I really wanted to try them out. They have beautiful designs. However, you guys, I spent $80 on these transfers. There literally 3 of them for $80, and I am not really too impressed. They bled all over the place. I'm going to show you here in a minute. This should come out nice and crisp and clean, but it literally just came out a big blob. On the little design, you can see on the side that it bled on that side. The chicken wasn't as crisp, so I did just take some stain and cover it up and then re-dry brush over it, which really wasn't a big deal, but for the money I spent for these, I'm kind of disappointed. But that is why you get it, to try it. And then that was it, you guys. I put a piece of foam board in the middle, stuck some greenery in there, and I literally made this for $4. I do love the way that it turned out, and I know you'll let me know in the comments down below what you think. Okay, you guys, so for this one, it literally took me like 4 minutes to make this. I know I'm going to get a bunch of questions, so I wanted to include the SKU or whatever the number is on the back that I always get questions about. And I take one of these wall pocket hangers. It's like a half planter, I guess you can call it. I used this and did basically the same technique in a different video. I will link that video in the cards in the right hand corner. But basically all I do is take my chalk couture transfers, and these are bleeding as well, but this is on a curved space, so I fully expected this, but these just come out so much more crisp and clean. But all I did was take my black chalk paste and I transferred on the word grow. Now in the original the lettering was much closer together, but I wanted mine a little bit further apart. So if you don't like it further apart, then all you have to do is just move them a little bit closer. I basically just scratched off the parts that bled a little bit. Like I said, I fully expected that because of the curve on this. But you guys, literally 4 minutes, $1 later, and you save so much money. I mean, now granted, $7 is not a big deal. However, when you can make it for $1, it's like a no-brainer. Moving on to our last but not least project, you guys, I saw this in the store and I forgot to take a picture of it. I was so lucky to be able to find it on the app because HomeGoods app is really funny. The associates have to like take pictures of it and upload it, and they only have like a few items. I was so worried that it wasn't going to be there, but anyway, this was a bigger piece, but I wanted mine to be like on a tabletop or whatever, because I don't really have any room for it to be big. So if you want it to be bigger, just double this up. But basically all I did was take 2 of the poplar boards that I've been using. They are 4 foot a piece, and I cut those down, leaving me with 4 side pieces. I then took 15 stir sticks, so 5 packs altogether, and I cut those down to 12.5. So you need 4 pieces that are 24 inches long, and you need 15 pieces that are 12.5 inches long. I then just once again cut down large stir sticks to be able to cover all of these to hold them together, and I also stained those and all the pieces with that ebony stain as well. Once again, I secured them all with some wood glue and some hot glue, and then once I was finished putting these all together, I marked where I wanted my shelves. So I marked at the top and the bottom 4 inches, and then wherever was in the middle of those 2 lines, I marked that as well. Now to get these even, what you want to do is lay out all of your longer pieces, and wherever those marks are, I just took a square and I drew lines across all 4 of them. Next, I lay my side piece down and I glue one of the stir sticks at the bottom of my shelf, and I just glue that right to those lines, and then I do the same exact thing for the next 3 shelves. Once I had those 3 down, then to get this nice and even, I glued right on those lines, but I pushed the first part up against the wall so that way I could just push my next piece onto my shelves, but I knew that it would be straight because it was hitting the wall, if that makes sense. Next, I just flipped it around and I basically repeated that step for both sides. So for the shelf that was in the store, it had like this little lip at the front. I had this scrap piece. I don't even really know what it is, you guys, honestly. But I had this scrap piece and it would be perfect for the front of this. So all I did was just hold it up against the bottom of the shelves, and then I marked each one and I cut those down with my miter shears. Next, we're going to do the cross pieces. So what I did was lay the large stir sticks crossway, and then in order to get the angles right, I'm not good with angles, you guys. I literally just wing it. You guys think that like I'm this amazing builder or whatever, but half the time I'm just winging it, you guys. I know that you guys can do this because you guys are all as amazing as I am. Do not doubt yourself, because you'll never know if you can do it unless you try. So basically all I do was hold it at an angle, and then I take another large stir stick because they're the same width as that poplar, and I just hold it up with the pieces that are already there and mark it. And I do that for all 4 pieces, or all 3 pieces, because you're going to have one longer piece and then you're going to have another longer piece, but then you're going to cut that down in 2. And basically, like I said, all I did was the same exact thing for all 6 pieces for the middle shelf and the bottom shelf. Once I had all those cut down, then I just sand down the edges and stain them with the same exact stain. Now, I was going to stop there, but you guys know that I'm extra, and I thought that it would be really cute to put X pieces on either side of the shelves. So what I did was take these really, really long skewers from Dollar Tree. They have them there right now, so run to your store. I did have to search several different stores for these, but I did finally find them, and I did pick up 3 packs while I saw them. So all I did was hold the pieces up on a diagonal on, oh my god, here we go again. I held them up diagonally and I cut them down, and then I just cut 7 more pieces the same exact size. I then also stained those with the same stain as well, and dry brushed every single piece, the shelves, the X's, everything, with some white Waverly chalk paint. But I did once again just do a light distressing. So once again, I was gonna stop there, but once again once again, you guys, you know I'm extra. So I had these label holders from that one shelf video that everybody loves. I can also link that video in the cards in the right hand corner, but I had these label holders left over from that project, so I thought that it would be really cute and just make it even look more high-end if I screwed down 2 on each of those front pieces. So once I had my X's in the back glued down, as well as the labels on the front piece, the label holders on the front pieces, then it's time to glue our X pieces down on the side. So I started by gluing one side of the X piece, and then I did the diagonal at the top, and then I just glued the other pieces. Now, because these skewers are flexible, I just literally slid it in from like in front of the shelf to the side. I don't know if that makes sense, you guys, but you can see what I did just a minute ago. And then I just secured that with some hot glue, and they still stayed. So I was kind of worried that they would pop off, but I went out and checked it today because I had to grab something, and they are still secured. So you guys, I love the way that all of these turned out, especially the shelf. But I also, you guys, you know I can't ever decide which one I like the best. So I know you'll let me know in the comments down below which project was your favorite. Also, leave a blue heart or just say blue heart in the comments if you're still here. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are the OGs. I love my YouTube family more than you guys will ever know. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with your family and friends if you think that they would enjoy it too, because those shares and those likes really help my channel to grow and help YouTube to notice me just a bit more. So if nobody has told you today, you are beautiful, you are kind, you are worthy, and I love you with all my heart and soul, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.